It's 12 o'clock, and you're watching KCCI Channel 8 Des Moines, Iowa's news leader, with Molly Cooney, Jason Hoffman, and meteorologist Mike Lozano. This is News Channel 8.
You're looking at a live picture from our News Star 8 mass cam at Cenex Propane. Cleanup there is underway this afternoon after a fire that forced hundreds of people to leave their homes and businesses last night. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. I'm Molly Cooney.
And I'm Nancy, in for Jason Hoffman. The fire broke out at the plant just before 5 o'clock last night. Plant is located at 4509 Northeast 14th. That's just north of the Des Moines city limits.
You saw the first pictures of the fire last night from our East Sky Cam. Fears that this fire could trigger an explosion forced fire crews to evacuate everyone who lived within 1.5 miles of the plant. But just before 10:30 last night, firefighters put out the burning propane and the residents were allowed to return home. This afternoon, the cleanup begins, and we have teammate coverage.
That coverage starts with News Channel 8's Michelle Parker. She is live outside the Cenex plant and joins us for an update. Michelle.
Well, there's a much calmer scene here today than it was last night because the fire was going so bad. In fact, we would not have been able to be this close as we are. We're right next door to where the fire was burning, but yesterday we couldn't be this close because of the danger of the explosion. The fire now, of course, is out, and now in the daylight we can see the damage. Why don't we switch to our mass cam on top of News Star 8, and we'll get a look at what it looks like. You can see the charred areas on one of the trucks there that burned. That's where some of the damage had happened last night. Let's now go to the video that we shot earlier of the same scene, and you can see the same kind of damage. As you mentioned, it was all sparked when a tank on a delivery truck sprung a leak during refueling. That leaking propane exploded and burst into flames, leading to other fires on other trucks. It was an extremely dangerous situation by itself, but the fire was burning near a storage tank with 30,000 gallons of propane, and next door is Feral Gas, another propane distributor, so that just heightened the concern about a massive explosion that could have happened, and that's why there wasn't an evacuation. There was an evacuation of businesses, including Todd's LTD, which is right next door where we're standing right now. Alyssa Douglas works there, and she talks about what it was like to have to be evacuated.
I just couldn't believe that anything could be that serious. We really were kind of in denial. We were messing around and kind of putting stuff back together in the office, and the fireman said, "You don't have time to lock the door or anything. You got to go now."
Now, Cenex employees are back and working in the office here. We did go to talk to them, but they said any comment has to come from the corporate office, and we're still waiting for that comment.
There were some frightening moments. Any injuries at all, Michelle, that we know of?
As far as you know, there were no injuries.
All right. Michelle Park reporting live for us. Thanks, Michelle. Well, several Central Iowa fire departments joined together to help evacuate residents and fight that blaze.
News Channel 8's Brian Polson joins us now from the headquarters of the Des Moines Fire Department with more on that half of the story. Brian.
Well, right now, Des Moines Fire Department Hazardous Materials Coordinator Matt Woody and several other fire department, police department, and emergency response administrators and so forth are inside the fire department here at 9th and Mulberry downtown, debriefing reporters, the media, giving us a better idea just exactly what happened yesterday. You can see some of the video we have from yesterday, that Skycam video that really just says it all, the flames that are shooting. In fact, this is video from when we were a little bit closer in. There was smoke showing over the 14th Street Inn that we could see. That is the closest that we were able to get yesterday. You've seen enough of that Skycam video that shows those intense flames. Matt Woody was telling reporters tonight that the main reason for that wide evacuation was simply the fear of what could happen. Not only was there the one 30,000-gallon storage tank at Cenex, but as Michelle mentioned, 2 more 30,000-gallon storage tanks right next door at Feral Gas. It was a very dangerous situation, and that's why firefighters were first thinking about evacuation instead of fighting the fire.
So initial efforts were not geared towards extinguishing the fire. There was a tremendous amount of assessment done with regard to firefighting. We certainly were not anxious to send firefighters into a situation where they may lose their lives.
Now, at this time, Matt Woody and some of the others inside are showing not only diagrams of the scene, but also some slides from inside the scene. So we should have some better pictures to show you on our later newscast of just what things look like there at the Cenex LP Gas Company.
All right, Brian, real quick question. Did they meet any kind of resistance at all whatsoever from residents in the area that were evacuated?
As you heard from that one neighbor right there, yeah, some people were maybe in a little bit of denial, but for the most part, people went right along with it and got out because they, like the firefighters, wanted to hang on to their lives.
Yeah, no doubt. Thanks a lot, Brian.
Well, it is mission accomplished for the Public Works Department, at least for now. Yesterday's 6-inch snowfall has been removed from all 200 miles of snow routes here in the city. 25% of the residential streets were plowed by early this morning. And crews say they will continue to plow and sand the rest of the day in efforts to prepare for tomorrow's expected snowfall.
Michael? Mike Lozano's cue.
Yeah,
See, I've always wanted to do something like that. Now, I'll tell you one thing, we are bracing for a little bit bigger storm than we had yesterday. It's not going to be overwhelming. We're now prepared for it. The problem yesterday